So capsule number 6. This is the second series in the Western Conference opening round. This is the Minnesota Wild, the central seeded number 2, 53, 22, and 7 for 113 points, taking on the central seeded number 3, St. Louis Blues, 49, 22, and 11 with 109 points. Dean Evason, who's done a wonderful job in Minnesota, versus Craig Berube, who's been there and done that. So this is the long and short of it. Bill Guerin's masterpiece taking on the 2019 worst to first Stanley Cup winners. Special teams questions versus do it all, and the two Russian superstars, Kirill Kaprizov and Vladimir Tarasenko. So stats on centerpieces. For the Minnesota Wild, boy, this is fun here. Kirill Kaprizov, 81 games played, 47 goals, 61 assists, 108 points, a career high. One of the very best that we have, and is continuing to get better, a plus 27 as well for Kaprizov. Kevin Fiala, 82 games played, 33 goals, 52 assists, 85 points, plus 23. Matt Zuccarello, 70 games played, 24 goals, 55 assists, 79 points, a plus 21. Ryan Hartman, 82 games played, 34 goals, 31 assists, 65 points, a plus 31, and good old 95 penalty minutes. It's been a career year for Ryan Hartman as well. It's been a career year for a lot of the Minnesota Wild right now, as being opposed by the St. Louis Blues, and there's a lot of stars on this regard too. Vladimir Tarasenko. Just remember, the Seattle Kraken in the expansion, the Blues, put Tarasenko on that list, and he was not taken. And for the Blues, they're probably breathing a sigh of relief. 75 games played, 34 goals, 48 assists, 82 points. Robert Thomas, 72 games played, 20 goals, 57 assists, 77 points, plus 17. Pavel Buchnevich, 73 games played, 30 goals, 46 assists, 76 points, and a plus 29. Plus 29. Jordan Kyrou, 74 games played, 27 goals, 48 assists, 75 points. And even Barbashev, I will say that, 81 games played, 26 goals, 34 assists, 60 points. And Ryan O'Reilly, I had to throw him in there still. 78 games played, 21 goals, 37 assists, 58 points. And Brayden Schenn, if he can go. 62 games played, 24 goals, 34 assists, 58 points, plus 21. And you're going to say comparison to all the other capsules, John, why'd you put so many extra players here for the St. Louis Blues? Well, because they're so deep, and Ryan O'Reilly and Brayden Schenn, they're probably not playing on the first line anymore because Thomas and Kyrou and Barbashev and everyone else are getting it done, Buchnevich as well. St. Louis Blues are as deep as anybody, and it's pretty much been like this. Can we get to the point like we did in 2019 when we won it all? Still have some other pieces kind of retooled a little bit. Tarasenko, as we imagined, would get a little bit better as far as getting things cleaned up and improve back to his form. Can it be done? Yes, it can. So for defensive side of things, isn't anything spectacular, but it's not a lot of names that you can sleep on here. Jared Spurgeon, 65 games played, 10 goals, 30 assists, 40 points, plus 32. Alex Goligoski, 72 games played, 30 points, plus 41. Dmitry Kulikov, 80 games played, 24 points, plus 23. John Merrill from the Vegas Golden Knights and Red Wings, now on the Minnesota Wild. Got to be happy about that. 69 games played, 20 points, plus 15. Justin Falk, remember former Carolina Hurricane, 76 games played, 16 points, plus 31 assists, 47 points, plus 41. One of the very best lockdown we have in the NHL. Torrey Krug, former Boston Bruins, he got that big contract with the St. Louis Blues. 64 games played, 43 points, plus 23. Colton Parencho, 80 games played, 35 points, plus 16, is one of the very hardest shots that we have in the NHL. Definitely capable of going well over 100 miles an hour. And Nick Leddy, since joining from the Red Wings off the trade for Oscar Sundqvist and Jake Wallman, 19 games played, 8 points, and a plus 5, since being a marginal minus for the Red Wings, but that's not his fault because the defense was so bad. Let's take this one step further. Depth. Joel Eriksson Ek for the Wild. 77 games played, 26 goals, 23 assists, 49 points, plus 16. Frederick Gaudreau, 76 games played, 14 goals, 30 assists, 44 points, plus 12. Marcus Foligno, again, if he can go, been sustaining an injury in that Colorado Avalanche game. That got a little dirty there. 74 games played, 23 goals, 19 assists, 42 points, plus 25, and 112 penalty minutes. Another one of those guys, along with Hartman, not afraid to make some rough stuff happen. I wanted to throw this in there because Matt Boldy was absolutely terrorizing the Red Wings every time they played. 47 games played, 15 goals, 24 assists, 39 points, plus 17. And Brandon Saad still there for the St. Louis Blues. One of the only other St. Louis Blues depths I have in there as far as 78 games played, 24 goals, 25 assists, and 49 points. So, a lot of names, a lot of talent on all sides. Maybe not so much all the crazy things on defense, but what you notice from the St. Louis Blues, very high back end plus minus. Minnesota, again, a lot of the same, very high back end plus minus. That's really going to matter. Let's go one more step here. Goalies. Cam Talbot, 49 games played, 32 wins, 12 losses, 4 overtime losses for a 276 goals against and a 911 save percentage. Marc-Andre Fleury, let's give us totality first. 56 games played, 28, 23, and 5, a 290 and a 908, 10 with Minnesota. Ville Husso on the Blues, 40 games played, 25, 7, and 6 with a 919 save percentage. And Jordan Binnington, 37 games played, 18, 14, and 4 with a 313 and a 907. So, Husso's goals against under 3, Binnington's is not. So, goalies on both sides. Minnesota, we knew they could score. They brought in Marc-Andre Fleury just for the insurance. That does not mean, and I will say this in the series, and this is one of those ones that makes it hard to predict. This is the series. I will say this. I'm going to say this now. I could be totally wrong in this prediction. But this is the series where both tandems, both goalies on both sides will play a game in this series. Both of them will start. I think both the coaches in between Dean Evason and Craig Berube can make that quick switch. They can make the flick of the wrist there as far as whether they want to go to Ville Husso or Jordan Binnington. Jordan Binnington was absolutely excellent when the St. Louis Blues won it in 2019. On the other side of things, Cam Talbot's not been too bad. But he's going to need some help. And Marc-Andre Fleury has been known to be able to steal games and steal series. Whether it was between Vegas or Pittsburgh, he's done it for a long, long time. Again, had a lot of shutouts with the Chicago Blackhawks, even when the back-end defense was not that good. I know his numbers are a little bit higher nowadays, but still very capable 1A, 1B goaltender. So this is one of those series where I believe both goaltending tandems will get a start. Now, you're going to say this, because I know that this was brought up, especially on NHL Tonight, and some of you guys on the outside, especially if you're St. Louis Blues fans. Why does everybody feel like this series could go 7 games? Because the St. Louis Blues swept the Minnesota Wild in the regular season. They won it 3-0, but Minnesota Wild still finished with 113 points in comparison to the St. Louis Blues 109. It's been neck and neck all year. But the Blues swept the Wild. So why do I think that this is going to go 7 games? Well, put it to you like this. Kirill, Kaprizov. Again, you talk about Connor McDavid, Alex Ovechkin, some of these other guys. Kirill Kaprizov is absolutely in that master class. 81 games played, 108 points. He can score, he can assist, he can do it all, skate like the wind, and his plus-minus is absolutely excellent. On the other side of things, again, Minnesota is very, very good at scoring goals, and they have depth too. We talk about all the names. St. Louis Blues have been there and done that before. All of these guys for St. Louis are absolutely having career years. Absolutely having career years. And Ryan O'Reilly and Brayden Schenn, if it wasn't for how good St. Louis was, they'd be sitting on that first line and they'd still be having even more point production. I understand they're getting a little bit longer in the tooth, but still, St. Louis is as good as anybody. And in that back end, I will say this, for as good as Jared Spurgeon is, and Goligoski and everything else has been great, Kulikov, Merrill, between Justin Falk, from what I know, all the stuff between Carolina when he was there at plus 41, Torrey Krug, he's been really, really good for the Boston Bruins and now for the St. Louis Blues. Colton Parencho can separate a part of somebody's body from the puck. He could snap a leg with how fast he can shoot that puck. I'm not joking. This guy is one of the very best shots that we have in the league. That back end for St. Louis on defense, that's really going to matter. If St. Louis, again, I understand they've won all 3 games in the regular season against Minnesota, but if St. Louis is going to win this series, they need that back end of defense to be great. And this is another reason why I think St. Louis has an advantage. And even though this could go 7 games, they have a big advantage in this aspect of it. And St. Louis could kind of close down on that moniker and turn things around and get this again, just like they slapped Minnesota around all around in the regular season. Big advantage on the power play and the penalty kill in comparison to Minnesota. 27% to just 20, and 84% to just 76. Those are big-time numbers. If St. Louis gets on the power play, they're probably going to score. And if Minnesota has to defend that stuff, it doesn't look like it's going to go all that well. Again, this could be one of those series in tandems where goaltending, as we've talked about, is going to play a big part, considering there's going to be a lot of tinkering and a lot of moving parts, where I believe every single starter in that tandem, within the two tandem on both sides, all four goalies, will see a start in this series. That could make this a 3-2, a 5-4, a 4-3, multiple goals scored in this series, and that's why they believe whoever has home ice advantage is going to be able to finish this off, and that would be the Minnesota Wild, to try to get this in 7 games. So if it goes the way it goes in the regular season and they get the absolute dominance, St. Louis Blues could finish this off in 5 or 6. And for the Minnesota Wild, it just goes all the same way. Everybody's scoring right now, and Kirill Kaprizov is the general out there. He's the best. He's the thrill. That's pretty much what it is there for Kaprizov. There's nothing else you can say. Fiala, Hartman, Zuccarello. If Zuccarello is ready to go, there's some injury concerns with him. If all those guys are ready to go, we know that Minnesota is going to be able to score. But we don't know, again, if Minnesota is going to be able to defend. And that's the biggest part of it. They can give up some goals. I understand the plus-minus is good for them when they're blowing out some bad teams and absolutely dominating them. The St. Louis Blues have seen it all before. They absolutely spanked the Minnesota Wild in the regular season. Again, you throw the regular season stats out there, but 3-0 is not something you can sleep on. And that's why I'm going to say this. I will give you the credit in the sense of what a lot of people say, that the St. Louis Blues, because people are picking the Minnesota Wild here, the St. Louis Blues are going to have a tough time. I do think, because of all the goaltending switching, that this is going to be a 7-game series. This is probably, even with a 3-0, probably the hardest series to predict. And again, if it goes along the lines of the regular season, everybody's going to laugh and say, why? You already had everything that was in your favor, and you knew about it because of the 3-0. But with all the goaltending switching, I will say the St. Louis Blues, they find a way, because they've been here before. They've had some of the stuff in the regular season success. The back end blue line, I think, is even a little bit better there than the Minnesota Wild. And the goaltending, I think Jordan Binnington, someone else is going to have to find it there. Husso's been really good, actually. Probably been the best of everyone else in there between the pipes. I say the St. Louis Blues, they win this one in 7. This could be one of the best series that we have in all of sport right now, as far as playoff aspect of it. That's what a lot of people are saying. I think this could be too close to call because of all of the goaltending switching. But again, with the advantage in the power play and the penalty kill, with the advantage in the back end and the advantage of some of the goaltending stuff, I will give the St. Louis Blues the edge. I think they beat the Minnesota Wild in 7 games. This is going to be a great series. Game 1 is going to kick off Monday, May 2nd at 9:30 Eastern on ESPN.